Hi and welcome to BeatleDave's Beatles channel. Today's video is episode 9 of the solo years, so please come and join me. So hello then, and another warm welcome to BeatleDave's Beatles channel. Hope everybody's doing really well out there, and thank you so much for joining me again today on the channel. So today's video is episode 9 of the solo years, the 1970s, where I'm going to be looking at the final solo related album from 1971, which is the amazing Concert for Bangladesh triple album box set from the concerts recorded at Madison Square Garden, New York in August 1971. An absolutely star-studded event put on by George for his friend Ravi Shankar to raise money for relief and aid for East Pakistan. But obviously, sadly, so much of the money raised from the concert was given to UNICEF, but not all of the money seemed to get to those that actually needed it. Nevertheless, though, the concert actually marked a very special moment in music history and was actually the first event of its kind, 14 years before the next such concert being, of course, Live Aid in 1985. So this series, I'm going to be showing every single solo Beatles album in order of release from the 1970s, also including any USA issues and reissues within the time frame, and of course any 8 tracks along the way as well. So it's going to be coming up very, very soon, but before then, it's time for something a little bit different. It's Ask BeatleDave, yeah! So yes, welcome to Ask BeatleDave, where I'll be answering your questions that you have about anything Beatles related, maybe about anything to do with the guys' solo careers, or films, or anything you've seen or haven't seen so far, anything that you want to ask me, and I'll endeavour to answer it right here. So today's question then is from Gerard McMullen. How you doing, Gerard? Hope you're well out there, my friend. And he asks, BeatleDave, what's your main focus when looking at vinyl not in your collection? So right, very good question there, Gerard. And obviously the most important thing to look for is the condition of the vinyl. You know, is there any deep feelable scratches or general bag rash? And is there any writing on the labels? Or, you know, obviously the same applies to the sleeve. Is there any writing on the sleeve or bad corner bumps? Or is the lamination okay? Or maybe is there any ring wear? But, you know, mainly always try and find the best quality copy for a reasonable amount of money. But of course, you know, the other situation is finding that really rare record or item that you're after, which isn't in that great condition. You know, do you buy it in the hope that you'll find a better one, and at least you have one in your collection? With hindsight though, there's been times when I've definitely missed out on some really rare items in perhaps not as great condition as I would have liked, but then of course I've realised that I should have got the item, gone back, and the item's gone. So the moral of the story is it's better to have a lesser graded item in your collection than actually not to have it at all. So Gerard, I really hope that answers your question, my friend. And guys, if you want to contribute to Ask BeatleDave, why not send me a question in the comments and I'll include it in a future episode. It's that simple. So come on guys, please me by getting involved and ask me some super questions. Okay now, so moving on, of course, it's time for I Call Your Name. So yes, it's on to them old shout-outs, and it's a great big BeatleDave hello to It's Only Rock and Roll podcast. How you doing, Don? Please check Don's channel out, it's absolutely superb. Joe Rob 46, Mark Fogden, Natty Wood, Ralph 66, Beatle Dustino, Buddy Greco, how you doing, buddy? And JBK 58. So that's a big hi to you guys from yours truly, BeatleDave. So on to the main event then today, and it's the Solo Years episode 9, and of course it's the Concert for Bangladesh triple album box set. So please come and join me. Released by Apple Records, the Concert for Bangladesh was first released in the USA on the 20th of December 1971, with the British release in January 1972, and was a 3-album box set complete with a lavishly produced book. The album was released following the two concerts held on the 1st of August 1971 at Madison Square Garden, featuring George Harrison, Bob Dylan, Ravi Shankar, Ringo Starr, Billy Preston, Eric Clapton, Leon Russell and many other contributors who gave their time to the cause for free. The concerts brought both George and Ringo back together on a concert stage for the first time since August 1966, as well as Bob Dylan's first major concert appearance in the US in 5 years. With mixing starting the following day on the 2nd of August with George and Phil Spector producing, the approach was to get the wall of sound in a live setting, with minimal post-production on the recordings, ensuring that the album was a faithful document of the event. With the sound mix being completed in LA, Harrison spent most of September in New York working on the problematic concert film footage, before heading to London where he attended the reopening of Apple Studios on the 30th of September 1971, and then producing the new Apple signing of Lon and Derek Van Eaton's debut single. Because of contractual problems from Capitol and Columbia Records, the set was delayed, but did include a 64-page book with the album cover designed by Tom Wilkes, which consisted of an image of a malnourished child sitting beside an empty food bowl. Once the album had been granted a release date, Apple's financial terms ensured that as much money as possible would be raised from each copy sold, although some retailers raised the price as requested according to Capitol's recommendation, with Harrison citing this as the main reason why he signed with A&M in January 1976. With a cost of $12.98 in the USA and an extraordinarily high £5.50 in the UK, the set was an immediate success and spent 6 weeks at number 2 on Billboard, with the LP becoming George's second number 1 in a row after the previous success of All Things Must Pass. So let's take a look. So here it is then, the concert for Bangladesh by George Harrison and Friends. This is the first USA pressing released on Apple Records on the 20th of December 1971, catalogue number STCX3385. And what an absolutely amazing box set this really is. It's a 3-record set with a lovely booklet, costing around $12.98 in December 1971. And actually on this particular version, on the USA version, you got more of a sepia tone image of the young child there with an empty bowl, which is slightly different to the UK one, which we'll compare with in a little while. But it's in fantastic shape. This one's really lovely. And actually the orange on the actual box set, I always kind of wondered why they chose orange. And the only sort of comparison I've got actually is George Harrison's shirt, which he wears, which is quite a bright orange, very similar to this. So maybe that could be the reason why. But this is in absolutely beautiful condition. On the back there's no splits or anything, but I did just want to show you the inside of the box actually, because it's the slight difference between the USA and the UK version is that you've got a white background on the inner box. So look out for that. But it's in absolutely lovely shape. And of course, there's the spine, the concert for Bangladesh, and Apple, and the catalogue number. Exactly the same catalogue number as the UK edition as well. So onto the fantastic booklet then. Of course, you've got that image once again. You've got the concert for Bangladesh and the young boy. But we're going to flick through at least one of these booklets, which I'm going to show you today. Obviously, there's a bit of background story about Bangladesh and Ravi Shankar there. And then we got some wonderful information there about all the tracks on the album. Absolutely love this album. It's probably my favourite live album. As you can see there on the left hand side, side 1 we got Bangla Done, which is obviously sitar and a sarod duet. And of course then we got side 2, which is Wah Wah, My Sweet Lord, Awaiting on You All, That's the Way God Planned It. And then we got side 3, which is It Don't Come Easy, Beware of Darkness, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, with side 4 being Jumping Jack Flash, Youngblood, Here Comes the Sun. Side 5 then we got a Dylan side here with A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, It Takes a Lot to Laugh, It Takes a Train to Cry, Blowing in the Wind, Mr. Tambourine Man, and Just Like a Woman, with the final side 6 being Something, and of course Bangladesh. Wonderful stuff. So back to the booklet then. Got a picture of George there as he comes on, introducing the whole concert. And then we got Ravi and his partners there, his musical partners. Some great photos here. Wonderful photos. Of course, it was filmed at Madison Square Garden then in 1971 in August. I've actually been there once actually. It's a magnificent place, a really fantastic venue. Wawa, of course. Some great shots of George. And some of the backing singers and Eric there. Of course, Eric was in a little bit of a state at the time. You know, he really was kind of suffering with heroin and all sorts, I believe at the time. Billy Preston, great Billy. Of course, we got the fabulous Ringo Starr there, Don't Come Easy. He fluffs some words in that particular version, of course, if you hear it on the record. Beware of Darkness from George, and introducing Billy and Klaus and Jesse Ed Davis, to name but a few. Of course, Eric Clapton there. We've got Jumping Jack Flash, and if you can see, just on that image there of George, we've got an orange shirt, which is very similar to the colour on the box set. It might be that that was why they picked that colour, but who knows. Leon Russell there, fantastic medley he puts on there, really great, fantastic stuff. More shots of Leon and Don Preston. More of Leon. Of course, we've got George and Pete Ham there. Pete Ham obviously from Badfinger, playing Here Comes the Sun. And of course Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind. Lovely made, these booklets, really nicely made. Ringo and George, and that orange shirt once again. Nice photos of George there and Bob. There we go. Of course, it was unsure if Bob would actually turn up, but he did, and the rest is history. Pink looking George there. He was so deserving of the success that George had after he left the Beatles. It was just incredible. Picture of George obviously and Phil Spector there producing the album. And of course all the credits on the back page. And finally, on the back of the booklet, you got a check there made out to UNICEF, I believe, with a guitar case and all the aid inside it. Amazing. Fantastic booklet, that. Really nice. So with your original Concert for Bangladesh then, you would have got these die-cut sort of cartridge paper inner sleeves. I'm going to show all three of these at once. They're in really nice shape, and that's what you should have in your original set. So onto the vinyl then. So of course these vinyls are set out so you can play the whole album in basically one change on your record player system, if you had an automatic changer. Obviously you line up records 1, 2 and 3 with sides 1, 2 and 3, and of course then when you flip them over you would play 4, 5 and 6, so you wouldn't have to keep getting up and down, which, you know, clearly makes sense. But these labels, I think, are slightly different to the UK ones. They look slightly darker, I think, in my opinion, but they're in great shape. These records are really in beautiful condition. So you've got the Concert of Bangladesh there across the top, and of course there's some copyright information there on the left with side 1 and the catalogue number. With on the right there you've got Apple, of course, and the little logo, with the tracks listed for side 1 and produced by George Harrison and Phil Spector, with the matrix on side 1 being STCX-1-3385. So flipping that then, which would be side 6. So there you go, once again, you've got the Concert for Bangladesh there with the copyright information, side 6, the catalogue number. On the right there you've got the Apple logo, and of course at the bottom produced by George and Phil Spector, with the matrix on this side being STCX-6-3385. So record 2 then, which is of course sides 2 and 5. Once again it's in beautiful condition, same labels, Concert for Bangladesh here with the copyright information, side 2 with the catalogue number, with the Apple on the right there, and of course the tracks listed on this side and produced by George and Phil. Once again though, the matrix on this side is STCX-2-3385. probably my favourite side, I think, on the album. It's just so great. So we're going to flip that over then to what is side 5. Of course, it's the Bob Dylan side, all Bob's songs on here. So once again, you've got the same label as previously seen, with the copyright info there, and side 5 and the catalogue number, with Apple Records to the right, and of course all the tracks from Dylan there on this side listed. We're produced by George and of course Phil Spector. And actually one of the channel subscribers was actually at this particular gig. How amazing. So the matrix on this side then is STCX-5-3385. So on to the final vinyl then, which is sides 3 and 4. Got a great version of It Don't Come Easy on here, starting off on this particular side. Once again, you do the same labels as the previous LPs, with the copyright info on the left there, and side 3 with the catalogue number, with the Apple logo on the right there. Of course, you got It Don't Come Easy, Beware of Darkness, introduction of the band, and While My Guitar Gently Weeps. We're produced by George and Phil Spector at the bottom. The matrix on this side then is STCX-3-3385. Flipping it over then to the final side, which is obviously side 4. Got that medley of Jumping Jack Flash, and of course Here Comes the Sun right at the end. Once again, the same labels with the copyright info, and side 4 with the catalogue number, and of course you've got that Apple logo to the right, with the tracks listed and produced by George and Phil Spector. So the matrix then on this final side is STCX-4-3385. Such a wonderful album, such a great listen. So moving on then, from the USA vinyl box set, we've got the USA 8-track edition, which was released on Apple Records on the 20th of December 1971, catalogue number ZAX31230. And all these 8 tracks, you know, they're such fun to collect. All these are very rare, especially some of these. Really rare, the Concert for Bangladesh on 8-track. Of course, it's in really good shape as well. You've got the same image there from the box set there, with the Apple logo to one side. And we'll move that to the side. And we've got the Concert for Bangladesh, and contains 2 8-track cartridges, equivalent to the 3 records box set, with the catalogue number there. And then on the bottom, of course, we've got the same details as well. Then on the back, of course, you've got all the tracks listed there across the 2 8-track cartridges. Then at the bottom, we've got produced by George and Phil Spector, and then you've got the details of 1700 Broadway, which is the Apple Records address there in New York. And right at the bottom there, if you can see, you've actually got the Concert for Bangladesh booklet, and it also says see inside flap of box for details. Now, what you would actually have to do at the time is, when you open up your 8-track, there'd have been a little flap here which had some details where to send it to get your booklet, redeem your booklet. And of course, most of these are always missing because everybody's sent off with a booklet, and quite rightly so. So, let's take a look at the cartridges themselves. Just put that down there on the left. And we've got cartridge 1. So you've got the album sort of sleeve picture there, of course. Then at the side, got the Concert for Bangladesh and the details of the catalogue number and volume 1. So let's just take a look at the back there. Of course, you've got programs 1, 2, 3 and 4. Some of the tracks have been spread over more than one program, which is an absolute terrible thing to do. Then at the bottom there, you've got Apple Records with Apple Records Broadway address there in New York, and 8-track stereo tape cartridge. Beautiful condition, really lovely. And of course, we've got cartridge number 2. Same image, in beautiful shape. Then at the bottom, the Concert for Bangladesh, volume 2, with the little Apple logo. Then on the back, once again, you've got all the same details, with programs 1, 2, 3 and 4, with some of the tracks spread across more than one program, once again. With Apple Records at the bottom, and of course the 1700 Broadway, New York address. 8-track stereo tape cartridge. Fantastic stuff, really lovely. So moving on to the UK edition then, which is the first pressing, released on Apple Records on the 10th of January 1972, catalogue number which is the same as the USA edition, STCX-3385. So this is where we actually compare the 2 boxes. So this is the UK one, as I said, and of course we've got the USA one here, and you can actually see the difference between the 2 pictures. Obviously the UK one on the left looks more black and white with a slightly different colour. Where it says the concert for Bangladesh, you've got that kind of rim, which is slightly more brown, I guess you'd call it. And the one on the right is really kind of like a sepia tone. So that kind of differentiates between the UK and the USA ones. Of course, the other way is, of course, in the back of the box on the US one, as I pointed out, you've got a white background, whereas the UK one is completely orange. But this is an absolutely beautiful shape, this particular UK one. Really nice. So it's exactly the same. And then we've got the catalogue number, once again, which is the same as the US one. So once again, then of course it's exactly the same booklet. Just a few little age spots on that one, sadly. But it's in beautiful condition otherwise. And once again, you've got exactly the same inner sleeves, those die-cut cartridge paper inner sleeves, and they're in fantastic condition, these ones, really beautiful. So onto the vinyl then. This is the first album, and of course this would have cost you around about $5.99 at the time, which sounds quite a lot for 50 plus years ago. It's in beautiful condition, this, quite a thick vinyl, this one, really nice and sturdy. Same sort of labels, although I reckon these are slightly lighter. Of course you've got the same image there, the concert for Bangladesh as well, with the copyright details around the rim and side 1 and the catalogue number, with on the right there you've got the Apple and of course P1971, with the songs there listed, and of course produced by George and Phil, with Made in England on the bottom, with the side 1 matrix being STCX-1-3385-2 on side 1. So we're going to flip that over then to side 6, which is of course Something and Bangladesh. Once again, you've got the same image with side 6 to the left there. And of course, you've got the catalogue number with on the right hand side the Apple and P1971. And of course, on this particular variant, you've got Harrow songs after both these tracks. Once again, there at the bottom, you've got produced by George and Phil with Made in England, and the matrix being STCX-6-3385-2. It's in beautiful condition and sounds absolutely fantastic. Onto record 2, which is side 2 and side 5. Once again, a really thick vinyl, this one, beautifully thick vinyl. Got a slight graze, just notice a slight little graze on that, but it's certainly not anything detrimental. Once again then, you've got that same image with the copyright details around the rim, with side 2 and the catalogue number. On the right then, you've got the Apple and P1971, and of course the tracks listed there, with Harry songs and of course Apple Publishing for That's the Way God Planned It for Billy Preston. With of course produced by George and Phil and made in Great Britain. But once again then, the matrix number on this side is STCX-2-3385-2. So we're going to flip that over then to side 5, which is the Dylan side. Once again, all the same details as before, with side 5 and the catalogue number. On the right there, you've got the Apple and the P1971, with all the tracks from Dylan there. And of course, you've got published by Kinney Music Limited as well. But at the bottom there, produced by George and of course Phil Spector, made in Great Britain. With the final matrix on this particular side being STCX-5-3385-4. So on to the last vinyl then on this particular UK set. Once again, a beautifully thick vinyl, really nice. And this, of course, is side 3 with Ringo Starr. And of course, you've got George in there as well, and the introduction of the band. And of course, Beware of Darkness, another great song. Once again, you've got all the same details. You've got side 3 on the left with the catalogue number. With on the right, you've got the Apple and P1971. With the tracks listed, produced by George and Phil. Manufactured in Great Britain. With the matrix on this side being STCX-3-3385-3. So we're going to flip that then to the final side, which is actually side 4. Same details as before then, with side 4 on the left with the catalogue number. And of course on the right there, you've got the Apple and the P1971. With the 2 tracks on this side, which is the medley. And of course, Here Comes the Sun, which is Harrow songs on this particular pressing. We're produced by George and Phil Spector and made in Great Britain. With the final matrix on this side being STCX-4 George-3385-1. What a beautiful set this really is. Really nice one. So on to a second UK variation of the Concert for Bangladesh. This was released on Apple Records on the 10th of January 1972. Catalogue number STCX3385. So once again exactly the same as the previous UK edition. Same image, sort of black and white image, with the Concert for Bangladesh around the outside. It's in just as good shape, this one actually. It's really nice shape. And once again, of course, you've got on the inside it's completely orange. And then of course we've got that spine. So with your Concert for Bangladesh then, you should have your booklet. It's in great shape, this one. Exactly the same as the others that I've shown, in fantastic shape. So not forgetting then your brown die cut inner sleeves made of like cartridge paper. All original pressings had these, so you should have them in yours. So on to record 1 and side 1 and 6. This one's slightly thinner, this particular vinyl. A bit like a wobble board. It's in beautiful shape though. Of course then it's exactly the same as the previous UK version with side 1, and of course you've got the catalogue number there with the tracks listed. And on the right there you've got the P 1971 with the Apple logo. And of course produced by George and Phil Spector. Made in England, with the matrix on side 1 being STCX-1-3385-2. So flipping it over to side 6 then, slight different variation on this particular one where we got the BMI credits for the publishing details on these tracks, as opposed to Harris songs of course. Of course on the left there you got side 6 with the catalogue number, and on the right you got the Apple with P 1971, the tracks listed, produced by George and Phil Spector, with Made in England right at the bottom. Of course, this being side 6, the matrix is STCX-6-3385 on a -2, in beautiful shape. So on to record 2 then, which is sides 2 and 5. And once again, you've got a variation with the publishing details. We've got BMI for the George tracks, and of course the Billy Preston song ASCAP. Once again though, you've got the details on the left of side 2 and the catalogue number, with on the right there the Apple and the P 1971 with the tracks listed and produced by George and Phil Spector, with Made in England. Of course the matrix on this side, which is slightly different than the previous edition, is STCX-2-3385 with a -4. I believe the previous one was a -2, I believe. So we're going to flip that over then to side 5, the Dylan side, and these tracks are all published by ASCAP on this particular variation. Once again now you've got side 5 on the left with the catalogue number, and on the right you've got the Apple and the P 1971 with all the tracks listed, and of course at the bottom produced by George Harrison and Phil Spector, with Made in England there right at the bottom. With the matrix on this version slightly different again, with STCX-5-3385-3, with the previous copy being a -4. So on to the final vinyl, which is sides 3 and 4. Another wobbly vinyl, this particular pressing on this variant. And obviously then we've got side 3 there, and of course you've got the catalogue number on the left with the Apple on the right and the P 1971 with all the tracks listed, and of course on this variant you've got the BMI publishing details, with the details at the bottom are produced by George and of course Phil Spector, with Made in England, with the matrix being just the same as the previous version, being STCX-3-3385-3. So flipping it over then to the final side of this set, which is side 4. Once again there on the left you've got side 4 with the catalogue number, with on the right you've got the Apple and the P 1971 with the tracks listed and the BMI publishing details, produced by George and Phil Spector and Made in England, with the final matrix being then STCX-4-3385-1. And what a wonderful album this really is, and it was all in a great cause. So thank you all for joining me today, guys, on the solo years, and I really hope you've enjoyed seeing all those fabulous concert for Bangladesh items from my collection. And don't forget, I really appreciate any comments or communication I get from any of you fabulous Beatles people around the world, and I'll always come back to you just as soon as I can. So the next episode of the solo years will be back again soon with episode 10, and it's John and Yoko's very political 1972 double album, Sometime in New York City. So now I'm going to be taking a little holiday break in the proceedings until September time, but I'm going to be back then with a very special video on the one and only Prefab 4, Dirk, Barry, Ron and Stig. Yes, of course, it's the Ruttles, and I'm going to be doing a 45th anniversary special of all my fabulous Ruttles items, including some signed stuff. So please make sure you're here again soon, same Beatles time, same Beatles channel. So as always, guys, if you enjoy what I'm doing, why not give us a like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. This is BeatleDave signing off.